welcome back to another episode. In this one, we're doing a epoxy counter pour and also a backsplash. So at this point, I'm just cutting out the counter out of 3/4 inch MDF. So at this point, I'm just getting my epoxies ready, mixing up a couple different pigments and shades, getting everything ready to go. Now this is the first pour that I did on this counter. Customer did request a color change on it, but I do think this was the nicer of the two pours, but the other one did match the color scheme a little better, but you know, it was two good counters, so no loss there. This counter here does have a routed edge, which can be tricky. You do want to knock down the sharp corners and get them a little more rounded, but it looks really nice. Kind of gives it a nice dressy edge, makes it feel a little more elegant than the stone cut edge or the just a rounded over edge. So just going through and adding some veins. I do quite a bit of adjusting. As you can see here, I'm kind of dusting it with some spray paint because I felt like most of it was just too white. Wasn't enough of a tonal change in some of the areas, so I just kind of added that in. And it does mean that you kind of have to do the veins again, but if done right, it does add another layer of complexity to your designs. Yeah, you just, it's a little more work, but it's important to me to get the look and the feel that I'm going for. And then sometimes it just takes a little bit of work to kind of adjust what you have to what you have in your head. And here I'm just kind of doing the glove technique that I like, and it just adds small subtle veins to the piece. What's really weird is if you see that light to the left in the laundry room, it's just like a old fluorescent tube lighting in there, and it doesn't look like that when it's on, but apparently it goes through some kind of color shift because it looks like a freaking nightclub over there. And shout out to the guys over at Stone Coat Countertops. I've pretty much learned everything I know through them, and used their products on this counter. For a while I was using a cheaper epoxy. It was about half the price, but the quality of it was not quite half as good as Stone Coat, but it was pretty noticeable. And the amount of work and the amount you have to charge to install these professionally, you might as well pay just a little bit extra and get a superior product. So shout out to Stone Coat Countertops for their superior epoxy. Also gives me a longer working time, which comes in handy for the second pour because I have to re-pour these counters and also pour the backsplash all at one time by myself. So it was almost the size of 2 full kitchens, which is was pretty nerve-wracking to do. But luckily I've got quite a few of these under my belt, and felt pretty confident about doing. If you are not that experienced with it, I highly recommend that you don't. You might want 2 people just for a kitchen this size, because it can be quite a task. And it's a race against the clock. You only got an hour, give or take a few minutes there, maybe 10 minutes. Alright, so at this point I'm cutting the backsplash for the kitchen. This one is a pretty large area here. Because of the way the cabinets are, there's going to be a large open space in between the above the stove for the range hood. It's kind of like a standalone stainless steel unit. So basically the backsplash is going all the way up to the ceiling. So I think the height on that was probably about 5 foot, and it was almost 9 foot across. So it was pretty difficult. I did most of it myself with the fitting, and it took me 3 times to get it adjusted in there. Okay, so here we go with the second pour. Not sure if I might have poured the inside counters right before I did these. You can tell this one's like a cream base, and I use like a dark cappuccino or dark leather brown for my darkest darks, and kind of get some mixes from that all the way up to the light cream color, which matches their cabinets a little better, which is why they requested that color change. Alright, so here's the backsplash. Luckily I didn't have to do this again, but the other kitchen we did have to change colors on the customer's request. So there's the main backsplash going back behind the stove, and the several smaller pieces. Here is the second pour on the kitchen here.